What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and today, guys, I'm taking a look at the 4K Blu-ray box set of the original Superman films. Let's jump into the box set, and of course, as you guys can see, I actually missed the boat on the Steelbook version, which would have been nice. It would have had the original box art or poster art on all the different releases and everything. But as you can see in this release, it is specifically tailored to the Christopher Reeve Superman film. So that's 5-film collection, which includes original Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman 2 the Richard Donner cut, Superman 3, and of course Superman 4 The Quest for Peace. The nice thing about it is it's a 4K Blu-ray combo pack with the digital copy for all of the films, so that's a nice little tidbit. Thing of it is, though, is that they did release the first Superman film on 4K already back in 2018, and from what I could research about it, though, they did end up having a little bit of a fiasco because apparently on this single release, which I actually did have before deciding on pulling the trigger on this one, supposedly there is a 70mm audio that is missing from this release but is on this release. Now, I have to be quite honest, unless I misunderstood some of the, news about it or some of the reviews about it, I could not find a single difference between this release and the other release. But then again, I'm not in a theater setting. I'm not in a huge surround sound setting. I live in an apartment where I can't really have a lot of that stuff without any complaints from neighbors and stuff like that for the most part. But generally speaking, I didn't really find that much of a difference between this release and the one that came with the box set. So that's just me being honest there. This actually has the theatrical cut of Superman 1. Just the theatrical cut, not the extended cut, which was seen on subsequent, or previous releases rather, including the one that I have, which is the DVD tin case, which had all the Superman films up to that point, including Superman Returns, plus the extended edition of Superman the movie, and a few documentaries, including Bryan Singer's visual journals, the You Will Believe documentary, which just went through and took a new retrospective look, modern look at the time of making the Superman films. And then on top of that, the Look Up in the Sky documentary, which I actually recently had to replace because when I tried watching it, it just errored out for some reason, the one that originally came here. But luckily on eBay, there's a bunch of them on there that are lightly used for about $5 and maybe $3 to $4 shipping and handling. So I said, hey, this is a quick fix. I can go ahead and get that and switch out the other disc, which is not working. And of course, I did that and I tossed the other one like a bad habit. But yeah, so this one is strictly the theatrical release. And then after that, of course, we do have Superman 2, which was infamously where Donner had parted ways with the Salkinds, who were producing the film. And the thing of it is that obviously Richard Lester came in, made changes, did a lot of reshoots, and upon watching this, especially since I hadn't seen it in a while, it is so noticeable, the reshoots, because you even look at the actors, specifically if you look at Margot Kidder and just see how much of a difference appearance-wise as far as her cheeks and a little bit of weight loss and all that other stuff. It is so much more noticeable in this, and the thing of it is that with this specific entry right here, I feel like a lot of the shots in special effects, and that goes for all the films really, did get a nice cleanup job. Although, I have to be honest, in the first film, they do this thing where they put a lot of hazy, kind of dreamlike features or filming and sequences, whether we're talking about Clark kind of, running through the cornfields or kind of being on the football field, and it's just got that like haze or whatever it is, that sun kind of haze, bright stuff. And even when he's going and throwing the green crystal in the North Pole to make his Fortress of Solitude and whatnot, and to the point where in some instances he's just flying around or it looks like a dream. Like, you get what I mean. Essentially, it's very jarring to see that kind of brought to a higher definition. Not to mention the grain factor in these films is definitely something that I took some getting used to, because it definitely looks like there's a lot of noise, but that's just how it is when you're filming in celluloid. And yeah, I don't know if it's my TV settings as well, but of course, with the HDR and the Dolby Vision and all that other stuff, or whatever you want to call it, the colors are deeper. There's a wider range. It's more rich, if you want to call it. You want to be a savant about it. But the thing of it is that I don't know if it's the settings on my TV, but a lot of the scenes looked very, very dark. Although I have to say, with these entries, Superman's suit looks a lot better than it did in previous releases because it actually looks the true color blue that it was, rather than, you know, how it turned kind of greenish blue or like a teal, I guess, in some instances, especially when you're compositing some of the shots, or just really weird color grading things that happened on the other releases. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my eyes. Maybe I have a color deficiency, but that's something that I felt like I noticed personally. Next, we get the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, which is very choppy. And the thing is that for all the footage that they put back in, I thought some of it was really well done, but a lot of it is really sticking out like a sore thumb, even more so than when it was first released. You were taking old footage that sat on a shelf, it's getting cleaned up, re-released, and then they're adding special effects to it. So it definitely has that factor of, okay, these are screen tests, these aren't really well composed shots, some of these don't match continuity wise, and then there are some shots where they actually had to do kind of their own version and kind of do inserts, as it were. And then these next two, I feel, have really paid off as far as the special 4K treatment, at least in my opinion, is Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Because, you know, growing up, I have to be honest, I really enjoyed Superman 3. I don't know what it was, whether it was Richard Pryor or just the quirkiness of the film, or the fact that you're seeing Superman do even more things, like, and the fact that it's not just Lex Luthor that he's fighting, which, you know, I have to be honest, I get a lot of Lex Luthor fatigue when it comes to these old movies, and kind of, even in Superman Returns, I think, for me personally, I felt a lot of fatigue with the character and his real estate schemes personally. And then seeing Superman go against his evil self was really a big thing as far as story element and kind of the metaphor of what's going on, and, you know, seeing it manifest where this, you know, kind of nicotine kryptonite is really messing with him and making him kind of not the best that he can be, I'll say. But yeah, the film looks great and fantastic. It's so much clearer. And again, the suit looks better. And a lot of these special effects shots that they composited back in the day do well with some of the updating. And obviously some of the updating didn't really work in some of these shots just because of the complexity or just how they were set up. But overall, I think the presentation for this one and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, definitely did a lot better. They seemed a lot more clear. The colors seemed a lot better balanced, a lot more of a range of colors. This box set was really something that I wanted to purchase because I missed out on the last release of Blu-rays that were actually in the anthology set. So that actually was everything you got inside of this, but in Blu-ray format. So having missed that release, the anthology release, I said, okay, well, I definitely want to get the 4K versions, because not only are you getting the 4K version, which is the newly restored transfers, you're getting the Blu-ray releases from the last iteration, at least for these specific movies. And you're getting the digital versions of them, which include the 4K versions for streaming on your favorite services. But again, what you're missing out of this is the Superman extended cut. And then you're missing Superman Returns and those kind of supplemental things. That being said, if you wanted to, you could just go ahead and buy Superman Returns on Blu-ray, which was about $10. You can get it for like $9.95 on Amazon. And if you get Prime, you get free shipping. You'll just have to pay a little bit of tax. So that's not too bad. And then on top of that, if you look, you can also get Superman the movie, the extended cut on Blu-ray as well. And with this specific one right here, I'm sure it's only a few bucks. The one that I have, unfortunately, was defaced because I bought it from FYE, and whenever they mark down things, they just feel the need to deface and damage these things, and you know, I don't really have an excuse to make for them. So all in all, guys, I think that this is definitely worth your buck if you haven't gotten the last Blu-ray release, because from what I understand and what I could see online, that Blu-ray release was pretty good, although there are color adjustments and some things on this, and they did do new transfers for the films for the 4K release. At least that's what I believe. I could be wrong. So all in all, give it a 3.5 out of 5 for this release of the 4K Blu-ray combo pack that includes the digital for the Christopher Reeve Superman films. Again, just the 5-film collection from 1978 to 1987 with Superman 1, 2, Donner Cut for 2, 3, and 4, The Quest for Peace. Worth your buck for sure, and yeah, definitely check it out if you're a Superman fan.